Hey everyone! Thanks for joining me again today and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a book review about The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. First of all, this book is a highly anticipated read. It's actually the top rated most wanted reads in Goodreads from last year. And this story centers around Starr. She's a 16-year-old African-American girl living in America who is living in the Garden Heights. It's like the projects. It's like a rough neighborhood. There's a lot of crime that happens around there, and they're more on the lower socio-economical side of things. But she goes to a posh school not too far from her place. It's an all-white, pretty much all dominated by white people in that school, and she's one of the few black people who studies in that school. This story revolves around the shooting of her best friend, who's unarmed at that time by a police officer who's white, and it really sheds light on the social injustice, racism, prejudice, and discrimination that African American people receive in America. I think it's very relevant in today's society, and not just America, because as a person of color, I have my own fair share of discrimination and racist experience in my country. So it does speak to me in a way, and I relate to Starr in so many ways as well. I like reading her journey as she tries to find justice for Khalil, her best friend. She tries to speak up, and she struggled a lot in voicing her own story and her own opinions on what happened that night. She received a lot of flack from both her own people and also white people. Because a lot of the Caucasian people in the United States, especially the police officers, are making Khalil out to be a thug and a drug dealer, and that he was doing something wrong that night. And it was also a bit difficult and complicated for Starr, because if she told the whole story of Khalil, of why he was doing the things that he was doing, she'll be dry snitching on the mob boss or the gangster boss in her neighborhood. So she struggled a lot with trying to find justice for Khalil, and also trying to protect her own family. She goes through a lot in this story, and you can see how her bravery and her strength comes through in the end. And I really like it. I think one of the issues that Starr or the author points out in this book is the story of Emmett Till. I have never heard of this boy before until I read this book, and I did a little bit of research on Google, and I was really sad, shocked, and really appalled of how the story of what happened to Emmett, who was brutally killed when he was just 14 years old by two adult white men in Mississippi. This happened back in 1955, and he was killed so brutally and so bad. Like, he was disfigured. His face you can't even recognize anymore, and he looked more like a prop for a horror movie than a real human person. I can't believe that any individual has the capability to do that. And although times have changed and many decades have passed, it's still present. It's still happening in today's society. Racism still exists, and it's still experienced by many people of color and also black people. Although nobody gets lynched nowadays or gets killed by even looking at a white woman if you're a black person, you still get discriminated in shops. You still get racism by police. There's racial profiling. So it has changed, but it's still there. It's still very real and very present in today's society. This book is very relevant, and if you're a person of color, if you're black, you will like to see Starr's side of the story. It's told in the point of view of Starr, through Starr's eyes, therefore you don't hear anything from Officer 115, who's the white cop who shot Khalil, and their side of the story. Which, it's not a criticism, because this is, as I said before, told in Starr's perspective. But I would like to know his side of the story. This is a book that I highly recommend to read by all young adults, especially if you're a person of color. You can relate so much in the social injustices that happen. And I think it has a story, it has a point to be told across all races as well. It's time to wake up. It's time to see the other side and what these people go through in their daily lives. Angie Thomas wrote this book inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement in America. And I really like the way she portrayed Starr. It's very realistic and relatable. Starr has many flaws, but she's also brave and courageous. And she has the strength to do things that many people does not have the courage to do so. Just be aware that if you are a white person or Caucasian, you may find reading this book a bit uncomfortable and awkward at times. So yeah, just be aware of that fact. But overall, this book is really relevant, and I highly recommend for everyone to pick a copy of this book and have a read through it. This is one of the books that I've enjoyed so far, and I give this a 5-star out of 5. That wraps up my review for The Hate You Give. Don't forget to check this out. Please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!